Meanwhile, earlier this month, LeBron James moved into 9th place on the list of all-time scorers, and last night he moved up the list again. In the Cavs' overtime win over the Bucks, LBJ passed Moses Malone for 8th all-time with 27,442 points. Next on the list for LeBron to catch, the Diesel, but it might take a while. Shaq has over 1,000 more career points than the King. So we posed this question to you all on Twitter earlier. Is LeBron James a top 5 player of all time? The results are in, and 72% say yes, he is. Stephen A., did our Twitter fam get it right?
You know what? I'm not sure. And a lot of people are going to, be up in arms about that because they're used to me being very, very definitive. I can't be definitive. This is the one question, Max, I can't be definitive with. Here's why. LeBron James, to me, is easily a top 5 player of all time for the first 46 minutes. The last 2, I'm not so sure. And that's where it comes in for me. Now, if you go by position, sure, he's top 5. Because I'm going to put Kobe behind MJ at the 2. I'm going to put Magic at the 1. I'm going to put LeBron ahead of Larry Bird. I'm going to put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the middle, a 6-time champion, the league's all-time leading scorer. I'm going to put Tim Duncan as my top power forward of all time. But if you just shove aside positions and whatever, I give LeBron nothing but respect and deference because of his greatness over the course of time, what he does on both ends of the floor, what he does for 46 minutes a night. But when crunch time arrives, when palms get sweaty and backsides get tight, I can't put him there. I got to put Bird ahead of him. I got to put Jordan ahead of him. I'm damn sure going to put Kobe ahead of him. I'm going to put these guys ahead of him. That's the difference for me. And every time somebody asks me this question, I will openly admit, Max, I am completely incapable of shifting my position. I refuse to answer the question directly as it pertains to that because I don't ignore the last 2 minutes. I don't ignore overtime. I don't ignore crunch time.
Nor should
those pivotal moments. I can't do it. But I can look over the totality of a game, the totality of a season, and to tell you for 82 games a year, plus playoffs, plus finals, LeBron is easily top 5. But if I shove that aside and elevate the importance of crunch time, the last 2 minutes,
then he's
I'm
still
not gonna
top
lie
5.
to you.
Then he's still top 5.
Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
I'd even put Dwayne Wade ahead of him in the last 2 minutes.
Okay, he's still top 5 that way. By the way, LeBron James choked away 4 consecutive fourth quarters in the finals against the Mavericks in 10-11, right? He did that. That ship has sailed. It's never coming back. It's one of the reasons he'll never be greater than Michael Jordan. However, to paint him with that brush as though he chokes under pressure ignores a lot of other fourth quarters, late and close, finals and playoff games and regular season games he's played in, where the statistics show that often, Stephen A., he's been more clutch than Kobe Bryant in those situations. But let's leave that alone for a second. The comparison, people will throw up their
I disagree with that, but go ahead.
I
disagree with that, but go ahead.
Okay, fine. I mean, again, the record of events says differently. Let's look at these last playoffs.
Well, those are stats you picking out. There are others, but go ahead.
Let's look at these last playoffs. When LeBron James, the finals, when he was down 3-1 to a 73-win team, the all-time winningest team, down 3-1, and they, not the Cavs, had home court advantage. And on Sports Nation at the time, I remember turning to the camera and saying, okay, LeBron, Muhammad Ali had to go into Zaire and fight Big George Foreman in the Rumble in the Jungle. He was supposed to be destroyed. He was a 5-1, 6-1 underdog. There's no way he can win that fight. Here's your Rumble in the Jungle. Here is where the legends are made. Here is where legacy is truly made. When you do the impossible. And they did it. And it was because of LeBron James. The season before, he had one of the all-time great finals in a losing effort because Kyrie and Kevin Love were both hurt. They were gone. He tried to do it all himself, took it a competitive 6 games. And then this time, with his crew, down 3-1 to the greatest regular season team that ever was, that had just come back on a Thunder team that was, all-time great, maybe had it not been for the Warriors coming back on them and beating them. LeBron James led them down 3-1. And how did he do it at the very, very end? Remember that? When Draymond Green, who otherwise would have been the finals MVP, LeBron goes up, hard foul. He comes down hard on his hand. It affects him. He goes to the line with the finals on the line, misses the free throw because of the hand, and you saw him on the free throw line making the mental adjustments. Okay, I got to tweak this, and hitting the shot that iced the finals in one of the all-time great finals appearances. You want to still say he's not clutch? He's absolutely top 5. The greatest player of all time is Michael Jordan. That might not ever change. It's hard for me to imagine a greater player than that. You want to argue Bill Russell or Kareem for the number 2 spot, 2, 3, that's fine. Then it's LeBron James. He has 3 championships that he's actually won, including the one I just mentioned, one where he got them there, a Cleveland team that had no business in the finals. He led them there. If you look at the peak of his career, it's as good as anyone but Michael Jordan's, maybe Kareem's, but it's right there, top 3 of all time. And if you look at the total career value, considering he plays both ends of the floor, better than Magic and Bird because he's a better defender. He's bigger, stronger, faster, etc. Defenses are more sophisticated now. And you look at the length of his prime, the fact that he's still going, the fact that he probably should be like an 8-time MVP. There is no way to keep LeBron James out of the top 5 of all time.
Stephen A., real quick, before you jump on him, can you just clarify one thing for me?
There's nothing, I need a lot clarified because he said so much. I mean, I thought I was taking a class at MIT with all of these damn analytics people. That is not the same as watching the game. And watching the game is entirely different.
I took you through the Draymond play.
I still am shocked that Max Kellerman uses his numbers more than his eyes. With those Beetlejuice eyes, I do not understand why this man does not
I have a question. How can you see the size of my eyes from your deluxe apartment in the sky?
It is a nice apartment, isn't it? But here's the deal. Go ahead, Molly.
I just need you to say one thing. You have D. Wade above LeBron. Why?
No, I did not say that.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to clarify it.
I clarified it the first time. I said the last 2 minutes. I said crunch time, last 2 minutes. If I had to give the ball to one person or the other, I'm going to give it to D. Wade in crunch time. And I make no apologies for that. A 3-time champion, one of the most clutch players in history, D. Wade. In the last 2 minutes? Are you kidding me? The reputation speaks for itself.
Here's the problem.
Wait a minute, hold on. No. I'll let you talk. I got to get in here because you threw out all those numbers. Let me tell you something right now. First of all, let's remember the fact that the Western Conference, for the vast majority of LeBron James' career, okay, has been the tougher conference with far more stiffer competition. He's been very, very comfortable in the Eastern Conference.
Agreed.
Let's not ignore that, the level of competition that you go up against. Hell, I'd look good too if half my games were against Detroit and Atlanta and Orlando back in the day and all of these other people, and the only stiff competition I had was the occasional contest against the Pacers or the Knicks or the Boston Celtics or somebody. I mean, give me a break. So let's not ignore that.
You keep running into the Showtime Lakers. It's not easy for you. I get it.
Wait a minute. It's not just the Showtime Lakers. It was the Spurs. It was other teams within the Western Conference as well. We also got a guy in Kobe Bryant that's been all defensive team more so than LeBron, that has 5 rings, not 3. And then also you have acrimony and beyond because of different coaches, not to mention the fact that this is a guy that had to ultimately do it without Shaq, even though that was of his doing. We've got that to take into consideration. All I'm saying is you're absolutely right. Nothing to discuss if you're talking about the first 46 minutes. But don't tell me that one performance in the finals ultimately makes LeBron clutch to the point where
LeBron has had a lot of clutch performances.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
He's also had a lot of failures. He's also had a lot of failures.
Okay. I want to get to that.
I love him. He's a superstar. Come on now.
I want to get to that.
Come on.
This is the problem with LeBron. The early impression he made was that he wasn't clutch. And by the way, he deserved that, particularly for the finals.
It wasn't early. It extended beyond early.
Fine, particularly for the finals that he had against Dallas. However, to ignore the fact that he's transformed himself into a great clutch player.
I'm not ignoring it.
Well, okay, but that's what he is now. So if you want to take the peak of his career, where he's better than a lot of the guys you just mentioned, yes, including Kobe in his prime, the peak of LeBron, and if you want to take that peak, well, guess what? He is a clutch player now. And if you want to say, I want to average in the career, his career value is amazing too.
But I'm trying to get to your point because it's a point that I don't want to let you ignore. I don't want to let you ignore. Listen to me. I'm not playing. Listen, because I'm trying to get to your point. Here's the deal. You want to take into account what he did in what he's doing now.
Yes.
And basically, by and large, ignore those prime years. I, on the other hand, am taking into account what guys did in their primes and somewhat ignoring attrition and father time, diminishing what they did. Which is more valuable in terms of judgment? Am I judging you by what you do when it counts, when you're young, when you're vibrant, when you're in your prime, or when you're old and father time got the best of you? Which way are you doing it?
I got a better way of doing it. You're drafting a team and you're drafting players, and the point is this: win as many championships as you can with this player. LeBron is being drafted in the top 5. You are drafting Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then LeBron James.
Okay, I'm not offended by that. I'm not offended by that. I do understand, because what you're doing is taking into account the totality of his game and how he'll impact other guys. I get that, but that's a different discussion, because again, that's what lends me towards saying he's easily top 5 because of those first 46 minutes and what he does for everybody. I specifically said where he diminishes in my eyes are those last 2 minutes where it ain't about those other guys.
But he's become excellent at that.
It's about you.
But he's become excellent at it.
Wait a minute. Listen, I saw Kyrie close. I appreciate the block from LeBron James.
You act like LeBron wasn't closing in these finals?
No. Listen, LeBron showed up. LeBron was a superstar. He was the MVP. We get all of that. But I specifically said he got the MVP because of his overall performance. The last 2 minutes.
Okay, let me ask you this.
I'm giving it to Kobe. I'm giving it to MJ. I'm giving it to Bird. Am I giving it to LeBron?
Here's the problem.
Am I giving it to him?
If you reduce this argument to a last couple of plays hero ball argument, then you will prefer the type of player who wants to play that kind of game.
That's not true.
Like Kobe Bryant.
That doesn't mean.
Wait, let me finish. That doesn't mean that Kobe elevates your chance to win in that situation over LeBron. It means he elevates the odds that he will be the one who scores the winning basket. Doesn't necessarily mean his team is more likely to win than LeBron's, and that's because of LeBron's presence.
Allow me to be arrogant enough to say, let me break down this basketball fact to you. In the end, all those things you say are obvious components to the game of basketball and judging the overall value of a player. But what separates the truly, truly special ones, all of these dudes are going into the Hall of Fame. But what separates the dudes in that different room from the regular dudes is not just titles. It's dudes that were given the ball when it counted, and they said, look, everything else has fallen apart. I need you to take me to the promised land in these last couple of minutes.
Who you taking, LeBron or Bird? Who you taking,
in the last 2 minutes?
No, who you taking, period? Who you taking, period?
No, I told you that. I don't do that.
We're choosing up teams. I got LeBron. You got Bird?
I'm taking LeBron
Bird's
for
bad,
the first 46 minutes. I want Bird for the last 2.
You can't do it like that. You got to choose one or the other.
Excuse me, I'm the one with the basketball credentials on this show, not y'all.
Therefore, you get to make a team and then sub out LeBron for Bird?
I can do that. I can do that.
Don't answer the question. You're not making the rules.
You got to choose one.
Now that is a debate.
I can do that.
I feel like I'm in the barbershop. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Unfortunately, we have to move on, though.